Morning, folks. Great to see you. We're going to continue with our second week of 1 Corinthians 13. I'm going to use a couple of quotes throughout the morning. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it's from every time. It just will waste time. But it's all in the notes, and the notes will be on the website soon, so you can check whom I'm quoting. So whenever you hear something that sounds quite profound, just know it's not me. I'm quoting somebody else. Okay. Some people go through life trying to find out what the world holds for them, or kind of what the world owes them, only to find out too late that it's what they bring to the world that really counts. Too many people, or some people, go through life trying to find out what the world holds for them, only to find out too late that it's what they bring to the world that really counts. Love is the emblem of eternity. It confounds all notion of time, eradicates all memory of a beginning, and all fear of an end. Love is the emblem of eternity. It confounds the notion of time, eradicating all memory of a beginning and all fear of an end. I love this one. I'll tell you, this one is by Oscar Wilde. Who, being loved, is poor? Who, being loved, is poor? 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 7. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. I don't know, I think a lot of people might think that 1 Corinthians 13 or love is probably the easiest thing to preach on, but sometimes when you start to prepare notes on it, something that is so simple, it's all there. What do you actually say about all of this? So love is patient. I'm not. This is not the beginning of a poem. And this is one of those that's not a quote. This is just the truth, unfortunately. Patience is, I would say, my worst character trait. I think when patience was handed out, there was a queue, so I didn't go. I'm not patient because for me, I'm always concerned, always aware of the pressure of time. And for me, wasted time or lost time is like wasted life or lost life. You see, you can never get time back. You can never have last Tuesday back. If you would ask for a pint of my blood, it's actually okay because my body can reproduce the blood. See, that's why people like Sean can go and donate blood. Because your body reproduces blood, but time's gone forever. But there's a difference between time lost in a queue at Home Affairs or at ABSA and time that is lost in connecting with people. That is when love is patient. When I choose to adjust my plans, when I choose to make adjustments to my day, my schedule for the benefit of someone else. Love is patient. Love is patient when I learn and when I choose to live with margin, with time margin. When I consider the possibilities that somewhere in my day I might be interrupted. I might be inconvenienced by the need or by the reality of someone else. Jesus was continuously, regularly, almost always interrupted, constantly. Just read the Gospels. When he was preaching, somebody would break open the roof above him and lower a lame person right in front of him. When he's trying to get some rest, the sick, the lame, the possessed would line up. When he was asleep in the boat, his fearful disciples would wake him up. Do you not care that we are dying? When he was trying to have dinner, a prostitute would come in and anoint him. when he was with his inner circle, a great mob came to arrest him. And even while he was dying, people mocked him. Jesus was willing to be interrupted and inconvenienced because he loved. You don't love because you love despite. Not for the virtues, but despite the flaws. Love is patient, willing to be inconvenienced and interrupted. Are you? Love is kind. I don't really think I have to explain this or clarify this, but when it comes to kindness, it's almost like common sense. It's not all that common anymore. And so I am going to expound on it for a moment. Just think for a moment. Who comes to mind? Think of a couple of names. Please don't shout them out. Who comes to mind when you think of kindness? I'm sure all of us will have at least one or two, or hopefully a handful of names that comes to mind when we think of kindness. But the thing is, it probably ends at a handful. You probably don't have too many names when it comes to kindness. And then again, we all regard ourselves as kind. I think I'm probably the kindest person I know. And I know me. The reason is because we evaluate ourselves based on our intentions rather than our deeds or our words or our attitudes or our facial expressions. I would like to be much kinder. I would love to be much more like Tanya. I like myself better when I'm with you. If you remember me and everyone else forgets, that'll be okay. And as Winnie the Pooh said, if you live to be 100 years old, then I would love to live for 100 years minus one, that I would never be without you. Love is kind. Love does not envy. I think we all know what envy means, but let me define it for you, because envy almost seems innocent until we define it as a feeling of discontentment or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or good fortune. Envy is a feeling of discontentment or resentful longing aroused by somebody else's possessions, qualities, or good fortune. Suddenly it sounds a lot worse, doesn't it? When we love someone, we won't dream of being jealous of them or envious of them, would we? No, you see, we're envious of the people we don't know, of the people we don't love, of the people that are not deserving of the stuff that we're envious of. And that's different. Well, it should be okay. Because we're human, after all. And we're so good at explaining away our own sinful nature and our own flaws. Here's a true saying. If God is all that you have, then you have more than enough. If God is all that you have, then you have more than enough. Trick is, if we battle with being envious or jealousy, then we allow our emotions to operate from a place of lack, of insufficiency, of discontentment, perhaps even insecurity or fear of the future. And if we look at what's underlying to that, what the underlying reasons may be, it reflects something that's in the heart. That the heart is not fully saturated by the love for God. That we do not fully, truly, completely trust Him. That we may even doubt His motives, second guess His motives. Go back to the garden for a moment. Did God really say that you must not eat from any tree in the garden? You will surely not die. For God knows if you eat of the tree, your eyes will be opened, and you will become like God, knowing good and evil. And there it was. Enough. Enough to doubt God. Enough to feel done in. Enough to want more. Enough to plunge all of mankind into sin. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. This is almost the opposite of love does not envy. Love does not boast. You see, when we're envious, we are envious of someone else and of what somebody else has. But being boastful is acting in a way, hoping for them to envy you. That's what boasting basically is. I'm acting in a way, hoping to have my hearers or my audience envy me, my possessions, my achievements, my opportunities in life. And what a wonderful tool we have given Satan in this area. And it's called social media. Especially Facebook, the ultimate boasting forum. Just think of your last 3 posts. So glad I'm not on Facebook. Listen to this quote. I am nothing special. Of this I'm sure. I'm a common man with common thoughts, and I've led a common life. There are no monuments dedicated to me, and my name will soon be forgotten. But I've loved another with all my heart and soul, and to me, this has always been enough. I have loved another with all my heart and soul, and to me, this will always be enough. Love does not boast. Love is not proud. Well, sometimes it is, and that's okay. When it's internal, when internally we are so proud of the ones that we love, or even when we communicate it to them in a loving and a caring and an encouraging way. I have a friend that's especially proud of his children in a good and wonderful way, and he often speaks about them in a beautiful way. But not when it's prideful, when it becomes self-focused or self-promoting or spilling into boasting again. I could as well have used this scripture verse, 1 Corinthians 1, under the boasting side, but I'm actually going to use it here with love is not proudful, or love isn't proud. Brothers, think of what you were when you were called. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many were influential. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose the foolish things of this world to shame the wise. He chose the weak things of this world to shame the strong. He chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things, and the things that are not, to nullify that which are, so that no one may boast before him. It is because of him that you are in Christ, who has become before us the wisdom of God. That is our righteousness, our holiness, and our redemption. Therefore, as it is written, let him who boasts, boast in the Lord. As it is written, let him who boasts, boast in the Lord. Love is not rude. This is the one that I'm not going to expound on or pause at. I fear that if love is not rude, needed explanation or elaboration, I would perhaps become rude. So I'm going to move on to love is not self-seeking. It's so easy when we're in love with someone. I hope you don't have to think back far about being in love with someone. But why would I be self-absorbed or self-seeking if I can be fully you-absorbed and absolutely you-seeking? You see? So we can all see what Paul meant when he wrote this. But once again, it's that difference between knowing and doing. Knowing the right thing to do and doing the right thing to do. I don't know, but somehow there's like a disjointedness between the two. It should be so simple. Knowing what the right thing is and doing the right thing. Hearing and agreeing with Paul is simple once again. But living it isn't that easy. Especially when it goes beyond me and God. Or beyond me and my household. Because actually, loving is easy. It's all these other people on the planet that makes it hard, that stuffs it up, or even impossible. If they can just get with the program. Love is not easily angered. You see, there it is. Once again, it's all these other people. Love is not easily angered. By all means, I agree. But it's these other people on the planet. And forget about the planet. It's these other people in George. Especially at all of its four-way stops. These other people with their CX and CBX registration numbers. Plowing cluelessly through our traffic circles. Or driving at 27 kilometers an hour in the right-hand lane. Want ons gaan dorp toe. Ons gaan dorp toe. Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And your neighbor as yourself, because he knew that your neighbor is going to come driving through your town as if he's visiting Paris from Janssenville. And he's going to do that in front of you. Love is not easily angered. Love keeps no record of wrongs. Let's move on. This is probably the toughest one on Paul's list. Forgive? Yes. Forget? Not so quickly now, not so hasty. Let's just kind of protect ourselves. And that's exactly where that record of wrongs come in, where the black book or the red book or whatever comes in, file 13 or whatever it's called. To err is human. To forgive is divine. To forget is impossible. Or is it really? Think back a couple of weeks ago, I quickly touched on our friend King Manasseh and listed some of his misdemeanors, if we can call them that. We focused only on two things. We focused only on, at the end of his life, how he repented and how he was forgiven by God. But then also how he had to deal with his own past. Dealing with our past is not all that easy for us. Because we've all had different situations and different circumstances that we come from. Manasseh had to deal, amongst other things, with actually sacrificing his infant son to a pagan god. But if we are saved, then we all have this in common. Our past has been redeemed by the blood of Christ. Our past has been utterly, completely, and fully, permanently redeemed by the blood of Christ. And we also have this in common. This is from Psalm 103. As high as the heavens are above the earth, so is his great love for those who fear him. And as far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. Isn't it beautiful how forgiveness and love is linked? God forgives according to his great love for us. Forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness is sometimes difficult. Forgiveness is always an expression of love. Forgiveness took place at the cross. The cross was a choice. The cross was incredibly difficult. And the cross is the ultimate expression of love. We'll come back to love holds no record of wrongs as we close. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with the truth. Again, we really do not have to elaborate. If we are not cut to the heart by injustice, when war and the atrocities of war and that which accompanies it matters not to us, when suffering and famine and disaster seems far off because it's somewhere on a news bulletin of Al Jazeera, it's far away from us, then we are drifting from love. When justice is not foundational, then society crumbles. And when evil prevails, nations disintegrate. Love always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. And it always perseveres. To protect physically and emotionally, to protect the good name of someone, to protect our heritage and even our environment for the future, is to love. To trust is to love. To trust that choice to put your heart out there again, to believe the better version of, to give the benefit of the doubt to trust, is to love. To hope for a better, a greater, a restored, a redeemed, is to love. To hope for a better tomorrow. Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a brand new day without any mistakes in it yet? Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a brand new day without any mistakes in it yet? Love always perseveres. To stay alongside until all is accomplished is to love. To love or to have loved is enough. Ask nothing further. To love, to have loved, to be loved is enough. Ask nothing further. Thus, to be loved by the very God of heaven and earth, the creator of heaven and earth, to be loved by him has to be the greatest experience in life. It has to be the ultimate gift. It has to be the greatest validation. To have been loved, to continuously be loved by the God of heaven and earth has to be the greatest experience in life, the ultimate gift, the greatest validation. And then to share that love with others has to be the greatest virtue. So go this week and love in a way that you have been loved by the Father. Can we have all the lights off and that video clip, please?